Today we need to get into an interview that Suga did a long time ago and why that's being brought up again. We also have to get into the BTS drama named Youth, and it's sort of getting a backlash over something that came out about Suga. And then we have fans wanting Benny Blanco to leave and be gone and what that's about. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave. Decide hate it or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Make sure you join us fangirling on Patreon with some free content on Saturdays now, and let's go. Benny Blanco is someone that has worked with BTS in the past, and I think overall he was very much well liked. I mean, when Bad Decisions came out and he was working with the BTS members, I heard nothing but good things. People were very happy. There were no accusations of clout chasing, and the music video was very much to appeal to the fandom, as it was Benny dancing and getting ready to go see BTS in concert. It was very much a reflection of how the community feels when they're about to go to a concert or when they're about to enjoy any sort of BTS content. So that song has been over for a while, and the promotion of that song has been over for a while now. So a lot of people were not expecting BTS and Benny's name to be brought up together again, unless they were working on a song together again. Now apparently Benny went on The Tonight Show and he did a scene where he was eating a BTS inspired cake with Jimmy, and there was a camera in the middle of the cake, so it made Jimmy and Benny look kind of funny. It's supposed to be a comedic thing. Now this is really not controversial at all, or really even a situation that should be controversial, because it's just two guys eating cake and joining a group that they like. Jimmy has been open about liking BTS, and Benny obviously likes BTS if he's gonna work with them, so I really didn't see any issue with this and with the reference. If anything, it's keeping BTS back in the mainstream, and it's keeping BTS on the TV when BTS cannot be on TV right now. I'm not saying that BTS needs any sort of clout from them, but it is keeping their name in the sort of zeitgeist of mainstream media. But a lot of people were very upset and said that Benny was using BTS for clout, and they would not like to associate BTS's name with Benny at all. And one of the reasons why is because Benny, I believe it was after a Bad Decisions. I'm not entirely sure, but there was a lot of controversy that were involving him. Now I want you to keep in mind that Benny has worked with BTS members since Bad Decisions. It wasn't long ago that the label posted on the Instagram account a photo, and in the photo they credited Benny as someone who has worked with J-Hope on his song before J-Hope left to go to the military. So in my opinion here is that Benny wasn't just bringing up BTS members' name for clout or for whatever it was. He was bringing it up because BTS is still relevant in his own mind, because he probably just finished working on something with them. And this isn't to defend him or anything like that. I don't really have much of an opinion on him, but the reason why I think this controversy was happening was because Benny recently got into a scandal where he allegedly posted a nude picture of his kid on Instagram. And that was odd because I don't even know how that still remained up. And there were definitely a lot of controversies involving that, given that we live in a time period where little kids can be very much endangered online. Now, he has yet to address these issues and these allegations, so I would be very curious to hear what his side of the story would be and what his thoughts are on that. A lot of people are upset that he hasn't been canceled and all of that sort of stuff, and it's really hard to cancel someone who isn't famous for being himself. I could be wrong, but I believe Benny is a producer, meaning that even if his public image sucks, if he still makes really good music behind the scenes, people are still going to want to work with him. They just maybe won't put his name on it. And so this could be a reason why he hasn't chosen to address anything, because he really doesn't have to continue having a career. Now, I'm very curious to see what happens with this and if it escalates or whatever it is, and I will just leave it at that. Now, the members' orientation is something that I think is very controversial to talk about, but I think it is something very important to talk about, because I think a lot of people like to assume what the members' orientations are, or they like to use that as a sort of way to justify themselves. And we've established very much that BTS are not just famous for themselves. They're not just doing this at this point for themselves. They are doing this for investors. They are continuing their music career for the community that they've built. And of course, they're continuing their career because they have become this sort of light for anyone who is Asian and for anyone who relates to any of the members. And I say this because we have yet to see someone who is extremely successful, who maybe doesn't have the stereotypical straight sexuality, and specifically men, and specifically Asian men. I remember getting comments a long time ago that were saying things like gay Asian men were the worst because Asian men apparently already look really girly and feminine. And so if you're gay on top of that, that is the worst thing ever. I know that if I grew up and I felt like it was okay to be a part of the queer community, then I probably wouldn't. Then I probably would feel more okay in general. And I think that this could be something that a lot of people within the K-pop community feel. And this is no shock because there's a lot of people within the community that have pride flags on their profile picture. Now, it's one thing to be a supporter of the community and it's one thing to be in it. Now, statistically, one of the members could be in the community. We just don't know which one. But also that all the members have openly been very supportive of the LGBT community. With that said, a lot of people think that it might be Suga because he has been seen pretty open about talking about his orientation in the past. Now, this is alleged because it was believed that Suga had mentioned this during a Japanese interview. And a lot of the stuff that we see online is a translation from that Japanese interview to English. And a lot has been lost in translation, potentially. So it could have all been mistranslated, is what I'm saying. There was an interview where he talked about how he doesn't have a specific preference for girls, and this was when the interviewer asked him what type of girls does he look for. It was believed he said his preference is not limited to just girls, or not limited to any specific gender. And so a lot of people either took that as he was bisexual, or they took that he was pansexual, and maybe he just doesn't care if it's anyone. Maybe as long as it's just a person. Now, how does this tie into something that's happened more recently? Well, if you're not aware, BTS had their drama released recently, or it was believed to be released, as there's a lot of clips kind of floating around now. So the drama is called Youth, and it was supposed to be a spin-off on The Most Beautiful Moments in Life, which is BTS's music video series. So it's supposed to be a dark series, and there were a lot of issues with the release because initially they were going to name all the members the exact same name as the BTS members. And this move would have made sense because the original music video series was with the BTS members. Now, the reason why, if you don't remember why this was such a big deal, that it could not have been the BTS members' names, was because the story had a lot to do with domestic abuse and a lot of the dark subjects, like the members going to jail, and that they didn't want the haters to grab onto it and then attach those actual things to these specific BTS members' names. Now, this makes no sense to me and never has made any sense to me because if the haters wanted to tie jail or domestic abuse or all those things to any specific BTS member, they could still do it because if you go back to the music video series, they are associated with those things in that series. Now, some people have been sort of streaming the drama and I don't know where they're getting it. There was apparently a website that was considered very shady, and some people were saying that they got the video from there or they got the drama from there. And then other people were saying that they were just streaming whatever little clip was online or whatever it was. Now, there was a clip where it was Jin's character and then it was Suga's character, and they were kind of talking to each other. And Suga's character turned to Jin's character and said, "Oh my god, do you like me?" or something, or whatever it was. And you could see the disgust in Suga's face. And he said that, and a lot of people have made comments and said, "Oh my god, this is a gay moment. This is him coming out," or whatever it was. And this was maybe a moment that he could use in the drama to come out, whether that was Jin or Suga. But in reality, this was likely just something that was written to be a comedic thing, and it wasn't intended for it to be a coming out thing. If there was any references to queer things or anything apart from the LGBT community, it likely would not be able to air or stream anywhere in Korea, which was also a concern that people brought up. If it was going to get banned in Korea over this sort of coming out or whatever it was. Now, because it's a comedic thing, I don't think that would ever happen, but if it was like a real thing and it actually was a coming out sort of thing, then yeah, I can totally see that it could get banned or at least limited in Korea. I have no doubt that the label would want to see the success of this and then potentially pitch it to bigger streaming services like Netflix or whatever, and potentially have this show streamed there and live there. So their goal would definitely be to make the show as streaming friendly as they can, and of course something that can be streamed in any country. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thanks, just leave a comment right here. Love you, bye.